Let's hear from Martin Oloo.
Yeah. Basically, what we are saying here is that we have challenges, and we are all agreeing that we do have challenges. And the way to get out of here is, if you ask my view, the Judicial Service Commission should actually be owning to Kenyans that we are failing. Because a lot of things that are happening, even at this point, would still question their own ability to actually steer. And that could be said of the Parliamentary Service Commission. The other day, you saw a report that was so hard-hitting, which they could only react by denying and by changing the story, and Speaker making sure he changes the story. So basically, we should come back to ask ourselves as Kenyans whether we want to start afresh on some of these issues. Corruption is a perception. Once a perception has come into play, that the Supreme Court isn't competent, the Supreme Court isn't corruption free, we don't have to subject to know it, or any judge who has been mentioned to even a process. What I would expect...
No, you cannot say that, surely. Due process is mandatory.
Just wait, let me make the point. He does not have to wait for that. All he would have done is say, look, I step aside until I'm cleared. Yes, we know there's a tribunal. Yes, we know this. The problem with the way we approach corruption is that I come and say, look, I deny. So prove the allegations. Yet, once perceptions have come in, they taint.
You see, Mike,
and sometimes the way to clean yourself isn't to wait to be absolved, but to step aside, and by the way,
I agree. I agree with what he's saying. Just a small point.
Yes, Sifuna.
The people who go after other people's careers know that it is about perception. Just like he's saying, that all I need to do to get you out of that office is make the allegation.
But then there's another dimension to it. And look, if today I begin saying that, Oloo, you stole 200 million shillings, what you going to do? Sue me.
Yes.
You will rush to court and get an injunction against me. But we hear about an allegation. Oh, Kiplagat meant so and so. Kiplagat did, so exchange an SMS. Oh, absolutely. And that was allegedly made
already changed.
Hold on. It was actually in November, allegedly.
2014. 2014. No, the affidavit was sworn in November of 2014.
That's okay. I'm saying the CJ gave us a date of November 2015.
That's when he claims he received the affidavit. But it was sworn in November of 2014.
Very well. So I believe at that stage, then, obviously, when it quote-unquote exploded, the CJ should have handled this in a much more circumspect way, in my view, by inviting Kato.
Which he never did?
Well, I don't know.
He never did.
I've asked for the report, and then we have the judge who's mentioned. Could you explain this and blah 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 blah, so that even as we speak today, I would have been happier as a legal practitioner to see Kato went to court and sued this people who says, "Oh, I'm just being dragged into this," got an injunction against any further publication, and we wouldn't even be talking about it with the injunction. But what do we know? What do we hear? What do we see? The direct opposite. And then today, in today's newspaper, I'm not going to go about the newspaper reports. We see an SMS exchange between the judge and Kiplagat. What do we common people conclude? What do we common people conclude? There was communication. There was communication.
After all, he had denied that there was communication.
So going to what Sifuna is saying, perception. So the perception we are getting, actually, there was corruption. And as Mr. Oloo is saying, the JSC should own up. And the question that now is flowing in the common person who is interrogating this individually and looking at the facts, is the JSC capable of objectively dealing with this? And then, wouldn't it have been wise for the judge himself to say that, look, I deny that I ever got involved, very honorably, I ever got involved, and I step aside. And I would like every arm of government that is involved in this sort of investigation to investigate this thoroughly. Then I would be in a far much better position to accept the credibility of his innocence than now this idea of we cling to offices. Oh, I'm not going to resign until no.
Mike,
I want us to talk solutions. We don't have much time. We need to know what can the judiciary do, or what needs to be done for public confidence to be restored. From what we have, from the discussion we have had, there seems to be a problem right from the top, like the proverbial saying, the fish rots from the head. Let me start with you, Martin Oloo. What needs to be done for us to clean up this perception that we're talking about of the public towards the judiciary?
I think that if there's any structured profession in this country, it's the legal profession. Now, earlier on we were talking about the law society, and the law society, every qualified lawyer out there who is enrolled in the bar is a member of the law society, including the judges we are talking about. So there's a way in which there is a structured, a structured professional, discipline, or there's a manner in which you can actually hold each other to account. So that should be enforced. The problem, of course, is politicization. Whether you are at the Law Society, whether you are at the Judicial Service Commission, the issue we are dealing with here is that what is our level of probity when you come to Article 10 of the Constitution? When you talk about principles and values, how do we leave this out? And so this is a test for this country, whether we're looking at a profession that is structured as the legal profession or indeed any other part. But I would think that as lawyers, we must be able to hold ourselves to the highest standards of accountability. I mean, we shouldn't find ourselves in a place where people are doubting what we say and what we believe in. So indeed, we have an opportunity to, the Chief Justice is going, we have an opportunity to actually have a Chief Justice who can help steer back the judiciary. We have opportunities to change the Judicial Service Commission. Right now, there are elections going on for some of the membership there, including within the LSK, who to bring in. We can question the people and we can ask what's going on. Yes, there are elections, even in the Law Society of Kenya. One of the things I've challenged all the candidates is, look, what different thing are you bringing on the table? To what level are you going to take us in terms of accountability, in terms of probity, in terms of propriety? So that we come to a level where we are beyond reproach as a profession. For now, we are suffering what we have all gone through in terms of we've chosen to be part of the road. We've not chosen to be the season. So you are in the judiciary, and we've said this thing cuts both ways. You are an advocate who is ready to take corners in order to win your case. Now, those corners will involve clerks, will involve the judge, will involve the magistrate. So to the extent that you are contributing to the road to the judiciary, we cannot turn around and say it's the judiciary. It's a whole wheel. You are, say maybe somebody who is looking for justice in the courts. You might be a private citizen, but you are not willing to lose, which means that you can only win or the other person loses. So what are you going to do? You want to make sure that you do everything that happens.
Solutions. Yeah. What do we need to do to clean up?
Mike, first of all, because as we have agreed, and I have agreed with my learned senior here, that the confidence, public confidence in a judicial system is anchored largely on perception, So these allegations are out there. We have all had various stories. The Chief Justice has been going around the country saying he has he's presiding over a judiciary that is irredeemably corrupt. And the perception is, for instance, if I were to ask what does Justice Tunoi have to do, for instance, to change the minds, to change the perceptions of people out there that he is actually not corrupt. Once that perception or that confidence is gone, it is almost impossible for you to recover it. And the point that I was trying to make, I personally have had difficulty finding any kind words for the Supreme Court, but what I always insist on, I say that each and every one of us is entitled to due process. The day that you say that due process is not available to my learned senior, Mr. Kinyanjui, but it is available for me, it is a day you start to destroy the very fabric of this society. Because if he is not entitled to the same due process as I am entitled to it, I am telling you we are going down a very serious slippery slope. So for me, the problem of perception, and the people who go after others know this, that once that allegation has been made, especially if you are a judicial officer, there is absolutely nothing that you can do. Even when you're acquitted later, 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line when the case is done, your career is over. It is over with you. No one will ever trust you again. So the only solution for us to regain the confidence of the judiciary appears to be another radical surgery. Another, situation where we get all the people who are in it now. Because questions have been raised about all of them. You've seen my colleagues postulate that the entire bench is tainted. So what can those judges of the Supreme Court do, for instance, to win the confidence of Kenyans when the election comes in 2017 that an aggrieved party can get justice before them? The only solution appears to be, let's get rid of all of them. That is the only way.
Wow. Kinyanjui, do you agree that we need to get rid of all of them? Yet
No.
there is so much experience that would be lost with that.
No, I don't agree with him. Like I said at the commencement of this show, they are very honest, hardworking, very diligent, faithful and honest judges and magistrates. And I give it to them, really. I mean, like, they are out there. And I believe that they have so much pain when they see the judiciary actually being described in such negative terms, even to the degree and the depth that my learned friend would like to actually think it to, which I do not agree with. So to remove those bad elements and actually get rid of that tendency, you have to do that radical surgery that he's mentioning about. But it's actually slicing off that cancerous growth, but not actually get rid of the entire stock and barrel thing. No, that's not the approach. How do we do that? In my view, the Chief Justice, for the remainder of the term, ought to actually get to the capacity and the role of the Chief Justice as he ought to be. How so? Put your foot down, slam it. Just say that you're the Chief Justice and you need action, and you need actually to demonstrate that leadership. The Chief Justice, for instance, ought to bring to the fore. We heard the Magistrates Vetting Board actually dismiss several magistrates on allegations of corruptions. What are their specific cases? Yes. Why not recall those specific cases of those specific magistrates? Was any magistrate arraigned in court for that alleged corruption? I know of none. Was any asset seized in tandem, in conjugant with the existing law? As it did? We know none. So the Chief Justice needs to come out and demonstrate that out of the judiciary we had these magistrates who were mentioned and they were actually vetted and they were found to be unsuitable to serve because of this and that and the other. Now, has he got rid of those tendencies? Still to date, no such. So he needs to do that. Now, coming to this other issue of the Supreme Court, I really appreciate his dilemma. The Supreme Court is one significant court and it's so politicized at the moment. What are we going to do about that? He probably has a very diminished role at this stage. Very diminished because of the JSC. And of course, there's a change in the face of the JSC. Okay. What can he do about the JSC? He is the president of the JSC. He is a chairman of the JSC, so he should then against it. Absolutely.
All right. I think we'll have to wind it up right there because of time. But thank you very much, Harrison Kinyanjui, who is a lawyer. We have Edwin Sifuna, an advocate, and Martin Oloo, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your views on state of the nation and what needs to be done for us to clean up the judicial system in Kenya. And well, that's where we're going to wind up State of the Nation this morning.